Hello and welcome to the Word of the Truth channel. Yes, we have changed the title of our channel. Instead of being called the Truth channel, it is now the Word of the Truth channel. That will help viewers to easily find it on Google search or in the search engines, YouTube search engine. So when you're looking for this channel, search for the Word of the Truth channel, and it will be the logo with the open Bible with a finger on the page. So look for the logo with open Bible with a finger on it. So welcome again to the Word of the Truth channel. For here we bring out the truth of what is written, the truth of what our God is doing, for those who are searching for our God, for them to know and understand what our God is doing. So again, welcome to the Word of Truth channel. Today I have an interesting topic to discuss. It is titled, Yahuwah will give the command at the appointed time. Yes, he will give command at the appointed time. But the question is this: what command are we looking for? Or what command are you expecting? Well, Yahuwah, the God of Israel, will give the command to bring justice and vengeance to all peoples and nations, as he promised. Yes, he will give the command to bring justice and vengeance to all people and all nations at the appointed time, because of what they have done to his chosen people. So he will bring what he promised, which is what he promised in the book of Isaiah. And I want you to follow along at Isaiah chapter 43. There he made a promise. Isaiah chapter 43 verse 1 to 8. And there is written, say, now this is what Yahuwah says, your creator, O Jacob, the one who formed you, O Israel. Say, do not be afraid, for I have repurchased you. I have called you by your name, you belong to me. So when you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they will not flow over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be scorched, nor will the flames singe you. For I am Yahuwah your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I have given Egypt as a ransom for you, Ethiopia and Seba in exchange for you. For you became precious in my eyes. You were honored, and I have loved you. So I will give people in place of you, and nations in exchange for you, for your life. So do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will bring your offspring from the east, and gather you together from the west. I will say to the north, give them up, and to the south, do not hold them back. Bring my son from afar, and my daughters from the ends of the earth. Everyone who is called by my name, and whom I have created for my own glory, whom I have formed and made, so bring out a people who are blind, though they have eyes, and who are deaf, though they have ears. So God will give the command at the right appointed time for the nations to do what? To give up his children, his sons, the people of Israel. The nations are holding them captive. The nations are holding them in slavery. At the appointed time, Yahuwah will give the command for the nations to give up his sons, for they belong to him. And he said he have loved his sons, the people of Israel. But because of Israel's stubbornness, because our ancestors were disobedient to our God, that's why God scattered the people of Israel among the nations, to the west, to the east, and to the north. But he assured Israel that, yes, Israel will go through fire, the trials of fire, the trials of the flood, but this will not overflow Israel, for he is with us. God is with us. And the nations will know that God is with his chosen people. Yes, he allowed for us to be put in punishment for the errors of our ancestors and our stubbornness. But yet, he is still with us. So at the appointed time, God will give the command to the nations to give up his sons. You know, he will collect Israel back to himself. He said, everyone called by my name, everyone that I have formed for my glory. So Yahuwah will give the command to the nations to give up his sons. Again, follow along what he is going to do. Let's consider what he's going to do to the nations. The book of Jeremiah. The book of Jeremiah. Chapter 25. Verse 29. It reads, for look, if I am bringing calamity first on the city that bears my name, should you go unpunished? So you will not go unpunished, for I am calling for a sword against all the inhabitants of the earth, declares Yahuwah of armies. So you are to prophesy to these words to them, and say to them, from on high Yahuwah will rule, and from his holy dwelling he will make his voice heard. That is, he's going to give the command. He will roar loudly against his abiding place, shouting like those leading the winepress. He will sing triumphantly against all the inhabitants of the earth. A noise will resound to the ends of the earth, for Yahuwah has a controversy with the nations. He will personally pass judgment on all humans, and he will put the wicked to the sword, declares Yahuwah. This is what Yahuwah of armies says. Say, look, a calamity is spreading from nation to nation, and a great tempest will be unleashed from the remotest part of the earth. And those slain by Yahuwah in that day will be from one end of the earth clear to the other ends of the earth. They will not be mourned, nor will they be gathered up or buried. They will become like manure to the surface of the ground. Say, well, you shepherds, and cry out, wallow about, you majestic ones of the flock, because the time of your slaughter and your dispersion has come, and you will fall like a precious vessel. The shepherds have no place to flee, and there is no escape for these majestic ones of the flock. Yes, Yahuwah said he's going to rule. He's going to give the command, or he's going to give the word. Word for what? For the vengeance to come, his vengeance to come upon the nations. In verse 29, he said, he brought punishment on the people, his chosen people that bear his name. Do you, the nations, think that you will go unpunished? He said, you will not go unpunished, because he is calling a sword against all the inhabitants of the earth. And he will personally pass judgment on all humans as to who will live and who will be put to death. And he said that calamity will go from nation to nation, from the remotest part of the earth to the other remotest part of the earth. And those put to death in those days will be so many that they will not be buried. They will become like manure to the ground. So Yahuwah will give the command at the appointed time to bring his vengeance upon the nations. In order to do what? To gather back his chosen ones from the nations where he scattered them. So, again, why is Yahuwah going to give the command at the appointed time? He will do so in order to save his chosen ones of Israel, as he promised. In Isaiah chapter 65, let's turn to it. Isaiah 65, verse 8 to 10. There it is written, this is what Yahuwah says, just as when a new wine is found in a cluster of grapes, and someone says, do not destroy it, for there is something good in it. He says, so I will do for the sake of my servants. I will not destroy them all. I will bring out of Jacob an offspring, and out of Judah the one to inherit my mountain. So my chosen ones will take possession of it, and my servants will reside there. So Sharon will become a pasture for sheep, and the valley of Anchor a resting place for cattle, for my people who search for me. So God already made the decision that he will not destroy all the descendants of Jacob, but he will take out of Jacob and out of Judah a remnant that will return back to him. Yes, he will not destroy them all Israel, but he will take out of Jacob a remnant that will return back to him. The ones that he chose. He said, my chosen ones. Sharon will become a pasture ground for his chosen ones, his people who search for him. So not all Israel will return back to Zion, and not all Israel will return from among the nations to the mighty God. Only the chosen ones of Israel will return back to him. So, at the appointed time, our God will give the command in order to gather back his chosen ones of Israel. And you, the Negroes, and part of those scattered among the nations, you are the people of Israel, the true people of God, the chosen ones of our God. From among you, God will choose those who will return back to him, to serve him. So, Yahuwah will give the word at the appointed time for this event to be carried out, for the chosen ones of Israel to be gathered and brought back to Zion to serve him. Again, follow along as I read the book of John, chapter 6, verse 44. There it is written, "No man can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him, and I will resurrect him on the last day." Yahushua, the Son of God, said that no one can return back to him or come to him. No one can return back to him or come to him unless they are chosen by the Father. So you have to be chosen by God in order to return back to Zion at the appointed time. In Isaiah, he said, "For my people who search for me," those who search for their God are the ones that will be chosen to return back to their God, to serve him in the land that he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yes, the land that he promised to Abraham for his descendants to inherit forever. So unless you are chosen by God, you are not returning to the Messiah to lead you. Those chosen by God are the ones that he will resurrect in the last days for them to live and serve their God. But what will happen to the rest of the people of Israel scattered among the nations who are not chosen? Follow along as I read the book of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 10. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 21 to 23. There is written, "Only a remnant will return, the remnant of Jacob, to the mighty God. For though your people, O Israel, are as the grain of the sand of the sea, only a remnant of them will return, and extermination has been decided on, and justice will engulf them." So yes, the extermination decided on by the sovereign Lord, Yahuwah of armies, will be carried out in all the land. So Yahuwah already made the decision that the rest of the people of Israel will be put to death, because the wages of sin, of disobedience to the covenant that he gave to the people of Israel, is death. So death will follow, or death sentence has been decided on by the sovereign Lord Yahuwah for all the descendants of the people of Israel, except those that he has chosen to return back to him to serve him. The rest of the people will be exterminated, for this extermination has been decided by the sovereign Lord Yahuwah. For when he gave the people, our ancestors, the covenant, he told them that disobedience of this covenant means death, and obedience to this covenant means life. All Israel sinned by breaking the covenant, and therefore death will follow all Israel. But the free gift of God is that he will give life, everlasting life, to the ones that he has chosen to return back to him in Zion. So at the appointed time, Yahuwah will give the command for this decision to be carried out in all the earth, in the entire land. So what is Yahuwah waiting? Because Yahuwah imposed 2,000 years punishment upon the people of Israel for their breaking the covenant, because he has told Israel that he will not withhold bringing punishment upon the people that hate him. So the rebellion of Israel, Yahuwah brought punishment, and that punishment will last for 2,000 years. According to Hosea chapter 6, verse 1 to 2, he will punish Israel for 2,000 years before raising them back up again. So before Israel is raised back up, Yahuwah will put to death all the sinners of Israel, those who are not chosen to return back to Zion to serve him. So he will give the command at the appointed time. Follow along as I read the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1. There is an appointed time for everything, a time for every activity under the heavens. And when you read down to verse 12, you find out that God has already mapped out an appointed time for every event regarding his chosen people of Israel. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to uproot, a time to plant, a time to uproot. God has mapped out every event regarding his people of Israel. So the time to put to death the sinners of Israel is coming. At the appointed time, Yahuwah will give the command for that event to be carried out in the entire land. So he is waiting for his appointed time. So because Yahuwah has an appointed time for everything, therefore the chosen ones of Israel are to pay attention and wait for his command. So we have to pay attention to his appointed times. If you are one of the chosen ones, awakened chosen ones, you should be searching, to studying, to understand the appointed times of our God. For our God does his things at appointed times. So we should be paying attention to his appointed times, and you should also wait for his command. For at the appointed time, Yahuwah will give the command for the events to be carried out. Notice what is written in Isaiah chapter 51, verse 4 to 6, there is written, say, pay attention to me, O my people, and give ear to me, my nation. For a law will go out from me. In other words, a command will go out from him. A law is a command will go out from me. And justice, and my justice I will establish as a light to the peoples. Say, my righteousness draws near. My salvation will go out, and my arm will judge the peoples. In me the islands will hope, and for my arm there we wait. Say, raise your eyes to the heavens and look at the earth below. For the heavens will disperse like a fragment, like we disperse in fragment like smoke. The earth will wear out like a garment, and its inhabitants will die like gnats. And my salvation will be eternal, and my righteousness will never fail. So, Yahuwah, the God of Israel, said we should pay attention to him. He said we should give our ears to him, because his command will come from him, or his command or the law will come from him. The law to put to death all the wicked, yes, even the wicked of Israel. The law to put the wicked, the nations, except the chosen ones. So this command will come from him. So we should pay attention to him. We should be looking forward, expecting his command, his decision. Okay? He said his righteousness draws near. His justice or vengeance he will establish as a light for all people. So he promised to bring vengeance to the nations. He promised to judge the inhabited earth. He said that just judgment will shine as a light to the people, so that all may know that and should fear the true God when he carries out his judgment that he foretold long ago. All we know that judgment will shine as a light to the people to know that he is God. So he said we should pay attention to him. He said his salvation will go out. He promised to save a remnant of the people of Israel. That salvation will be carried out. Okay? And his arm will judge the peoples. Okay? He says when he carries out his judgment, say like the night, the people will pass away, and the earth will wear out like a garment, and the inhabitants will die like a gnat. So my salvation will be eternal. God will grant to his people of Israel eternal salvation. So that salvation is coming at the appointed time, and his righteousness will never fail. So we should be expecting the command of our God to carry out the things that he has revealed and foretold of long ago. His salvation for the chosen ones of Israel will also be known. Yes, his people that he scattered to the islands, to the ends of the earth, he will give the command for the nations to give them up, the chosen ones of our God. So they will not hold them back at the appointed time. He will give the command. So that's why we should pay attention to Yahuwah our God and try to understand his activities of long ago. So listen to this. Isaiah chapter 51, verse 1 to 3. It says, "Listen to me, you who are pursuing righteousness, you who are seeking Yahuwah. Say, look to the rock which you have hewn, and to the quarry from which you were dug. Say, look to Abraham your father, and Sarah, who gave birth to you. For he was only one when I called him, and I blessed him and made him many. For Yahuwah will comfort Zion. He will bring comfort to all her ruins. He will make her wilderness like Eden, and her desert plain like the garden of Yahuwah. Exaltation and rejoicing will be found in her, thanksgiving and melodious song." So, God said we should pay attention. Listen. You who are seeking for what is right, you who are seeking salvation of your God, you who are searching for your God, of the people of Israel. So you who are seeking for Yahuwah, the rock that formed you, or the rock from which you were hewn. He said, look, consider Abraham your father, and Sarah. There were only two, but he multiplied them. He made them many, because they exercised faith in him. Likewise, you that is seeking righteousness, you that is seeking Yahuwah, the God of Israel, you should have faith in him and wait until his appointed time, and wait for him to give the command. For Yahuwah will do and carry out what he said at the appointed time. Yes, at the appointed time, Sarah became pregnant and gave birth to Isaac, the seed of promise. So Yahuwah will carry out his judgment, his decisions at the appointed time. And that's why he said we should pay attention to him. We should seek for him. And he will carry out what is right at the appointed time. Follow along as I read verse 7, Isaiah 51, verse 7. Say, listen to me, you who know righteousness, the people with my law in their heart. Say, do not be afraid of the taunts of mortal men, and do not be terrified because of their insults. Say, for a moth will eat them up just like a garment. For the clothes moth will devour them like wool, and my righteousness will last forever, and my salvation for all generations. So God is telling you, the people of Israel, who are seeking for him, who are seeking for what is right, who are seeking deliverance from him. He said, listen to him. Do not be afraid of these mortal men. And do not be terrified because of their insult or the conditions that they have put us into all these years. He said, a moth will eat them up. They will be consumed. Like the cloth moth, they will be what? Devour them like wool. But his righteousness will last forever. He promised to save his people, to gather Israel from afar, from the east, west, and the north, back to himself. That righteousness that he said he will carry out will be carried out at the appointed time. And that righteousness will stand forever. For God said he will give the descendants of Abraham the promised land to inherit forever. So you that is seeking righteousness, you that is seeking the God of Abraham, wait for his command. Wait for his appointed time. Try to understand his appointed time. For it will not delay. It will come at the appointed time. So, again, Yahuwah will carry out his command, give the command at the appointed time. We have to wait for him. We have to look to him. We have to study and search to understand the appointed time that he has placed within his jurisdiction. For they will be carried out at the appointed time. Again, I thank you for listening to this message. Do more research on this. But you and I need to wait for Yahuwah to give the command at the appointed time. For he will carry out what he has said he will carry out. Seek to be among the ones that he will choose to restore back to Zion at the appointed time. For his promise is that all who search for him, he will return back to Zion. Okay? Again, until I come to you next time, don't forget to like this channel. Click the thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel. Share it with others. I would like to hear your comments of what you think of the truths that you are hearing from this channel. For the truth is what will set you free. Everybody is not teaching the same truth. But the truth of God's word is known to those he has chosen. Again, thank you until I come to you next time. Remain blessed and keep waiting for the command of our God, for it will be carried out. Friends, I have put together some study material that can help you to understand what the Bible is really teaching. These study books help bring out the truth of what the Bible is really teaching concerning you, the people of Israel. These things many are not revealed to all, but to only the chosen ones of our God. And thanks to our God, according to his promise, that in the final part of the days that this knowledge will become abundant, So I have put together study materials that can help you, those who are searching and seeking for the God of Israel, to understand exactly what his activities and what his plans are. So you can find these books on Amazon.com when you search for the book titles. And one of these books is The Road Leading Back to Zion, the homecoming of Abraham's chosen offsprings. So you can find these books. They are a guide to help you to understand what the Bible is really teaching concerning you, the people of Israel, you, the Negroes scattered among the nations. The other books, study guides that can help you. This one is titled, Follow the Light of Truth Back to Zion, for the word of our God is truth. These books are like a study aid to bring out the message of what the Bible is teaching concerning you, the people of Israel, and concerning all the nations who want to obtain salvation from our God at the appointed time, what they need to know. So the other one is titled, Extra Oil for Your Lamp as you wait on your master to return. So you can find these books on Amazon.com by searching for the title, Extra Oil for Your Lamp as you wait for your master to return. I hope these books, as you study them along with your Bible, will help you to really understand what our God is doing and help you avail yourself of the salvation that is coming. Again, only those who search for their God are the ones that will return to the mighty God. The rest of the people has the judgment coming upon them. So find these books on Amazon.com and let them help you to draw closer to your God. Again, thank you.